Go ahead and call this Norwood City Council meeting to order. If everyone can please rise for a moment of reflection and a pledge of allegiance. Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen, Mrs. Hoover. Present. Mr. Province.
Present.
Mrs. Bowling. Here. Mr. Moore.
Present.
Mr. Girton.
Present.
Ms. Sullivan.
Present.
We have 6 of 7 members present this evening. And moving on to amendments of the agenda. We have one item, and that is adding a letter from Mayor Schneider regarding appointment to the tree board. We will move this to communication number 3 so that the request to enter executive session will be the final communication to consider. Mrs. Bowling.
I'll move that we amend the agenda as stated.
Is there a second? Mrs. Hoover.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Hoover. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
Mr. Province.
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Girton.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Moving on to minutes of previous meetings. We do have 3 sets on the agenda this evening: December 16th, December 23rd, and the January 1st special meeting. Mr. Girton.
Make a motion that we receive and file all 3 minutes as if read.
To approve the minutes
I make a motion that we approve the minutes
as
for all
if
3 meetings as if read.
Got it. Thank you. Is there a second?
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Sullivan. Thank you. Any discussion? Mr. Province.
Yeah, the minutes for the first on page 1, there's an error that needs a correction in paragraph N. Province is with an I, not an E.
Got it. All right. We will note that. Any other items? Any other discussion? Motion on the floor by Mr. Girton, seconded by Ms. Sullivan, is to approve all 3 sets of minutes as if read. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
Mr. Province.
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Girton.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Moving on to requests to address council. We do have 2 of those this evening. The first is Charlene Myers.
Good evening. I'm Charlene Myers. I'm with Focus Cincinnati, and I'd like to start out by saying thank you to Norwood for having some volunteers available to us for Martin Luther King Day. It'll be the day that we are having our food pantry, which we started this year to have a weekly food pantry at Christ the Savior. And we already saw an uptick in guests. Normally we see between 8 to 10 guests. On last Friday we saw 16, which is double what we normally see. So we're hoping to see even more in this time of need where there definitely are people that are in need of food. Over the Christmas holidays, we gave out 50 hams and pies to families who needed them to make their Christmas dinner a little special, and that was kind of exciting. We also gave out, and I don't know if I said this the last time I was here, 70 presents to Norwood View students, which was really kind of a special occasion. They got to meet Santa. And those of you who are saying he doesn't exist, please do not put that on the record because he does. We are, Pastor Mingo is here. We are going to, because then people don't know when it's open. So we've picked dates. Don't know if they're the right dates. but we're going to open this Saturday, and we'll be open until I think it's Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. And then we'll open again on the 29th, and we'll be open until February 5th. So those are the two sets of dates that we picked based on AccuWeather. And I was always of the opinion that a weatherman is the only person that can hold their job and get it wrong 90% of the time and still hold it. So I'm hoping that those dates are good and that we can serve the people of Norwood, because that is really our intention. That's what we do in collaboration with Christ Temple Church. And our volunteers are really looking forward to serving people in need in Norwood. So that's all, and I'm under minutes. Susan?
Mrs.
Chair,
Super-
just for clarification, Saturday, the 17th of January to Wednesday, the 21st?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
thank you. And we'll put that out on social media and all that good stuff. Thanks.
Our next request to address council is Lisa Grubbs.
Hi, I'm Lisa Grubbs, and I'm a resident of Norwood. And I know that many of us in the neighborhood have come and spoke about the sober living facilities that are opening up around Norwood without notifying the proper people. And we have spoke many times about Izzy's house, particularly at 1753 Williams, and there's also an Izzy's house on Hopkins Avenue as well. We had a November meeting with the owners of that house, 1753 Williams, where they were trying to get an amendment to move more than 17 people into a single home, and that was denied by the board, which is wonderful. And since then, we were notified, specifically through Keith, that he was notified that they're going to be moving out, both Izzy's home facilities on Williams and Hopkins, by the 16th of this month. But the neighborhood has been watching this, and they're moving in more. Currently, we know specifically there's 9 men, which is over the 4 per single kitchen, at the Izzy's house on 1753. And it's kind of a revolving door of many men in and then new men out, new men in. But just over the weekend, they were moving in some new mattresses. So it doesn't look like this group is leaving this Friday, which I think is the 16th. So I don't know if there's an update that someone can reach out to Izzy's house. Is this really going to happen? Because so far, the neighborhood is not seeing that. There's been men coming up and down the street. Just 2 nights ago, there was an EMS where someone was taken out of Izzy's house. I'm not sure what that could have been regarding. And Izzy's house markets themselves as a sober living, but there was a gentleman that has been placed at Izzy's house about 1 to 2 weeks ago, and that was just accidentally viewed by some residents based on a Facebook post where he was reaching out to some of the people on like a Norwood Help internet looking for food. So a woman that runs like a Norwood Help site communicated with him, and there's 9 men living there, and these men did go to a church and had a dinner there and was talking, and some of those men were released from prison and directly went to Izzy's house. So that's more of a halfway house kind of situation than maybe a sober living. And that's the problem, is that the sober living tagline is so vague. What exactly is happening? And recently in the neighborhood, just a few days ago, there's a letter that was put in mailbox of residents for 1768 Williams, just a few doors down, that Resourceful Pathways, another sober living, is moving into that home, which is a 1-kitchen home. So I don't know how this is getting through or bypassed if these companies or businesses plan on opening more sober livings within the same block. And they're not going to move in 4 people. That's not possible. These sober livings have way more than 4 people that move in. So what exactly, or where do we stand on trying to change or update some legislation to where every time we turn around, we have a sober living group moving into the city? which is, not a good thing for the residents of Norwood. And that's our concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Province?
Ma'am, you said we met? Who's we?
The residents of around
Around the area.
1753 Norwood, we met many times with our council person, Sam. At the time of Alexis, but she's no longer with us on the board. We had a board zoning meeting where the owner of 1753, who is not a Norwood resident, he purchased the home hoping to rent to Xavier students, but that didn't work. So apparently renting to sober living facilities was the next best thing.
Okay.
So when they came to the board, the owner of 1753 Williams, they were asking to get the law changed where they could have up to 17 people living in this home under the sober living.
Okay, thank you.
So that's the story.
All right, moving on the agenda. Some of you watching may notice that administration reports typically are closer to the end of the agenda. We did change that this year. Administration reports are now taking place prior to council considering pieces of legislation. And we have no public hearings or special presentations this evening, so we will move right on to administration reports. Mayor Schneider.
Thank you. I'll make sure I hit the green button as Councilman Provence did prior to his discussion. Thanks for a few minutes to talk about the city and what's going on. Montgomery Road, as you can see, they've restarted some of the concrete work. They weren't off for too long, much like they were talking about the weather, getting those breaks. So they've restarted working on concrete in the A block here at City Hall. The painting, the street painting that was put down was temporary painting that they typically do, and they were really hustling to get the thermoplastic down and get the final painting in place. Some areas are done and other areas are not. So when it's dark, you're not seeing it. They did commit to coming back and putting another coat down, trying to make sure the lane markings are there. And I know just last week they were doing some of the reflectors, the raised pavement or they're just below the pavement. So those reflectors are really helpful when it's rainy and dark right now. But there will be an upgrade to that. There was really a good test of the Elm Avenue storm sewer project here recently. We had a good torrential rain that in years past we would have some different challenges there, and the storm sewer system did pretty well. So we're happy to see there was a test before the real big spring rains come. The biggest problem we had with our stormwater system, of course, with our stormwater system, you have above ground and below ground. You have the stormwater pipes that are running underground that carry everything away. But then it's designed so that a lot of the rain runs right down the gutter lines, right? Well, we've still got a lot of people that have they've put bulk leaves out in the gutters. And when you have a big storm, it picks up that pile and puts them right down to the storm drain and blocks it up. So I know that Public Works was out trying to clear storm drains. Bulk collection is over with. So we do that for a certain period of time where the guys have the big leaf vacs and collect the piles. But if you have a pile in front of your home now, they need to be bagged up, and you can put them out on your regular trash day, but they should be bagged at this time. I know I went out and cleaned up the gutter in front of my house, and then the big storm came, so I've got a lot more leaves out in front there. But it's something that the residents are going to need to work to make sure that those leaves are taken out of there. Our guys are still working in some areas, but really the best thing to do is to get the leaf bags. And the city purchases the paper leaf bags through recycling funds. We get there's some money that comes back in from our recycling efforts. And we purchase those recycle bags, the paper bags, and you can pick up for your household in Norwood. You can pick those up at the Board of Health. So if you stop by there during business hours, they can provide you with some of those. And of course, you can always purchase those at Home Depot or Lowe's or any place like that. The other thing, we're starting to look at the America 250 celebrations that are going on in the administration. We're starting to think about, like, okay, how are we making sure that our city is prepared, and we're doing everything we can to embrace it and make sure that we're as patriotic as every other community, because Norwood's very patriotic. So that's interesting. The Recreation Department is holding a planning meeting. I'm sure some of the council members have probably already heard about it, trying to bring together the groups, all the groups that have events through the summer, and putting together a good plan, a good calendar of events, and make sure that things aren't overlapping, and sort of share resources also, so that we're getting the biggest bang for our buck. I know that we did not have Christmas Town this year in December. But what was interesting to me was December was packed with different events going on regularly. It seemed like every weekend there were a couple of things, and then there were all sorts of things going on in the evenings that different groups were having. We used to sort of consolidate it into Christmas Town. I don't know if we're not better off having it spread through the whole time, because it used to be that if you missed this one weekend in Norwood, Christmas Town and all the churches and all the events were going on, and then the rest of December was sort of where this year it seemed like we had a lot more stuff going on. So I'm not sure if that's best to resurrect something that compiles it, or leave it sort of scattered out through the whole month of December, and everybody sort of gets the focus and the attention on their group at those times. So, but city event planning is something that the Recreation Board is working on. The tree board, there's a reappointment to the tree board. That's Lily Dean, who's been on the board. She's absolutely an asset to it with her knowledge about the arborists and all that stuff. So that's the reappointment letter that you guys, I'm hoping you will, read the letter and confirm her reappointment to it. January 21st coming up is the State of the City, that's given typically annually by the mayor to the Chamber of Commerce. That's on the 21st. It's a lunchtime meeting. It's held at the Courtyard by Marriott right here in the city. If you're interested in attending, it's the Norwood Chamber of Commerce.org site that you would go to register for that. And then right after that, I typically do a State of the City. It's a little bit different for the Norwood Together group that holds all the community meetings and is active. And I typically provide them with a sort of a presentation of it also. And the chamber has the State of the City also filmed so that it's put onto the Facebook and website and stuff. Then I guess another thing I wanted to talk about real quick is just the billboard on Indian Mount, at the Indian Mount Cafe, the billboard that's on top that the city school district has put up there. And it talks about supporting the fine arts and all the different fine arts programs that our schools have and that Norwood City schools have in place. And really, I just wanted to mention real quickly how important fine arts programs are to our community and to the children of our community. Sometimes those middle school and those high school years are so important to certain children, and the fine arts program and the things that they can bring about, the changes, the real metamorphosis of a young adult at that age when they get involved in the fine arts programs and learn how to really play music and the team building and the camaraderie is so critical to some of them. So please do consider, making sure you talk to school board members and say, hey, continue, because they want to hear it, but make sure they know we want to continue with that. And then the one legislation item that's on the agenda is the plumber's license and registration. And I know Ralph Wolf is here, our chief building official, and if you have questions as we go into that, he's pretty sharp when it comes to that stuff, and I'm sure he can provide some comments on that as we get closer to it. But that's really all I have. I will talk one more thing. I'm sorry. The Ohio Municipal League offers up the newly elected official training, and I sent that out to the three of you that are the newer members on council. Of course, current members of council can go to this training also, but it comes up, it's going to be here in Cincinnati, and it comes up, and I hope that you will take advantage of it. The fund, it's $125 for each member to attend it. That should really just come out of the council's contractual key. There should be $3,500 or so in there, and that's where we come from. Joe, you know more about putting together the rec and all that stuff, but there is funding to cover that. It is, in my opinion, I've went through it before. It's a very good foundational training that helps you steer away from areas that could get us in trouble. And when I say us, I'm talking council members, but I'm also talking the city of Norwood in general, you know, all of us. So I'd highly recommend if you can go and attend it, please do attend it. It's very helpful. Now, that's all I have. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mayor Schneider? All right, Mr. Bonzo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome to Councilmember Sullivan, Councilmember Province. Great to have you all here. So I've got three items today. First is the final the final total for earnings taxes and where we ended the year. So we ended the year with collecting $23,370,000. That is 3% ahead of where we were last year. $672,000 more than we had last year. The positive part of all, like we were hoping it would be more, but just various things that happened towards the end of the year when it comes to companies that thought they were going to earn more than they did, caused that to not go up quite as high. Positive though is that for both our withholding taxes, so our 2% earnings tax there's three components to it. So it's employer withholdings. So basically if anybody working like a W-2 job, it gets withheld from you in the city. So that's the largest portion. We've got individuals who, for some reason, if they have either it's not gotten withheld from their paychecks, they work outside the city, and you know they don't have a 2% earnings tax where they're from. So basically, they pay the difference here if they do have one. So you have the individuals, and then you have the net profit. Net profit is the profits that businesses earn in the city. All three of those categories were up. They were up, just barely, around that 3%, but they were all up this year. So that's positive that they were all up at least a little bit. There's no big gaping hole in our, projections kind of going forward. Tim and I, the tax commissioner, Tim Wagers and I are working right now to just redo the calculations for what our estimates are going to be. They'll be a little bit lower than what we were thinking, but we'll have those to finance committee by your all's first meeting. The next item is adult use cannabis funds, and we did get our first payment from the state, which I'm very happy about. This is the funds that are come from the 10% excise tax. It's 36% of the 10% excise tax. So basically 3.6% of the 3.6% tax that essentially comes to us. And there was uncertainty about whether we'd get it, but the total for about 18 months was $641,000 check that we received. So it was definitely more. It was more than I was expecting. I think I was expecting around $500,000. And then we should be getting checks monthly from here on out. So just want to let you all know that. And yeah, and then the last item is, I just want to echo the mayor, the newly elected official training, highly encourage that. If anybody does have any trouble with getting, the ability to go when it comes to like the funds or what have you, just come talk to me as well. I mean, somewhere we'll find some money to make sure that you all get to go for that. So I think it's really important and a great use of time. So with that, any questions?
Mrs. Hoover.
Thank you. Through the president, a couple questions. Thank you so much for updating about the cannabis tax. It was on my list of questions. Can you tell us the current plan from the state about how long we will get that funding?
Yeah, Mr. Bonzo.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the right now the legislation that's in place does not put a sunset on it. So there is right now there's no sunset that I know of at this point for when it would end.
Mrs. Hoover.
And also through the president. We had a conversation back in 2025 about how we should spend that funding. And I guess my question is that something that we should put into committee of the whole? Is that, how do we as a city decide how we're spending that funding?
Mr. Bonzo.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I think they're essentially, I mean, where funds go is the council, determine it. There is some pre-work happening just to get some more information about options where it could go. For now, I mean, it is deposited into the bank. We're earning 3% or 3.5% interest on it, so annual interest. So it's safe and sound. Everything's good. We just haven't. It has not been booked yet to the specific place where it's going to go. We've got a question out to the law department about a capital improvements fund that could be used for parks, streets, like many different things would be the goal, and about whether we put it there. The fear is that there are, again, it's not guaranteed that we will have this forever. I mean, so the current, the legislature and the governor, it has gone through without veto or the way that it is now, but with a new governor potentially next year, you just don't know. So I still just highly encourage it, not to be put in the general fund, just from a perspective of we don't want to be depending on that money now with our operating budget. However, it's not been decided. If Keith says that we can create a capital improvement fund, I think that will be presented to Finance Committee to consider. But I think, I think you could put it where you want to put it.
Mrs. Hoover.
Is that something, I guess, a request to put that into committee of whole for discussion?
If you would like that.
I would like to make that motion to have that discussion put in committee of the whole.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions for Mr. Bonzar? Mrs. Bowling, I believe you.
She asked something I was going to ask.
I saw a hand over there. Any other questions for Mr. Bonzal?
Just one other item that I would note too. So again, when I just talk about the uncertainty, Mike Skelly and I were talking about this, and I don't know anything about what this means, but actual property at 4029 Smith Road, where the landing dispensary is, it sold, about a week ago for 4.3, at least listed on here, $4.3 million. I don't know if that was a bundle of properties or just one property, but if it was just one, the school district's going to have a field day for one because it's assessed only at $574 right now. So they're going to enjoy going after and getting that assessed higher. But I don't exactly know what that means. If that means there's any jeopardy about the landing being there or not being there, I have no idea. But just again, either of these businesses closing would be just a massive hit on that. So just want to note that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Miracle.
Thank you, Mr. President. Over the last few meetings, we've been talking about SSI and our workflow product. I'm happy to report that this Thursday morning, we are going to have our training for that for all of the department heads and for those that are going to be entering requisitions. Just a brief little update for those who may not be familiar with this. Workflow is going to be the first step for us in our office going paperless. So everything will be entered in. All approvals will be done digitally as well. So we're really excited about this. And I invite any of the council members to come by and take a look at it. I think you'll be pretty excited about it as I am. So that's Thursday morning. And then I think pretty soon we'll have, maybe by the end of the month, we'll be able to turn that switch on and go live with that. So that's workflow. Just a thank you to Sasha Gabbard. There was a lot of background work that we had to do, some mapping and so forth, and she took care of that for us. So thank you, Sasha. Also, talking about our software, VIP Analytics. We have downloaded the budget into VIP Analytics, and I had sent out an email requesting everyone get that downloaded onto your laptop. And once you do that, if you want to stop by, we can do a quick tutorial on that with council members as well. Let's see. Also, we're working on the FRP. We've already met Mr. Bonzel, Mr. Wagers, Mr. Powers, also Mr. Zimmerman, Dr. Cambisi, and myself. We're going to be meeting again this Friday, and our intention is to have that done as quickly as possible. As you know, we had gotten that to you, the budget to you in October. So this is just a continuation of that. So that is something that we're also working on very diligent. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Miracle? All right. Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just, first off, just like to comment on Mr. Bonzel's comment is we can't count on that money for sure going forward. My experience when I was on council, we went through a recession. The state took away the estate tax. They got rid of the personal property tax. They cut the local government funds, things that had, over the course of about 5 or 6 years, things that had always been there. And if the state needs the money, if we have a recession and the state needs the money, don't expect that we're going to get it. So, budget accordingly on that. We are working on, as far as I know, for council can set up whatever line item in the appropriations they want for something to set up a special fund that has restrictions on it. The state auditor doesn't like those, and so it's kind of up to them what we can get away with on that kind of thing. So that's the kind of where we are as far as setting up a capital projects or a city investment, whatever you want to do with that kind of funds. Later on in the agenda, there's a letter for me. It's my annual report. My predecessors used to just have the report as the letter, and the poor clerk had to read the whole thing, which bores everybody. So let me just, to be honest with you, it's a compendium of 1,000 things, and I'll just make a few comments now, and then you can receive and file as if read, and that's fine with me. I said to the clerk of council before the meeting started, I feel farther behind now than I did a year ago. It's just that there's been a lot this year, things that have taken up a lot of time. It's a very strange job in that, as far as being a lawyer, because there are 100 different areas of law where we get questions out of the blue, and we've never thought about it. It's never come up, and so we have to dive in and educate ourselves. We spend a lot of time advising the people that work for the city. So it's council, it's the administration, it's the police, it's the fire, it's the building department, the auditor's office, the treasurer, whoever you got, we're there. Some of the big ones this year, for me, I don't know, Tim spends a lot of time on stuff that I don't know about too much. But for me, it's just to run through some of the ones that pop in my head are multicolor, obviously. Airbnbs, we went to the BZA on that and won, and so pursuing that litigation, CRAs, and the school lawsuit, which we're still going back and forth with pieces of paper with the opposing counsel. Sober houses is one. We had the BZA hearing, and that's a perfect example of the kind of our role is that they were cited, they were issued orders. You got too many people living here. You got to do something about it. They appealed that to the BZA, and our role is to. Okay, here are the issues. Here's the testimony we want to elicit. Here's what we want to be on the record because we're expecting an appeal from this. Here are the kind of parameters in which the city can and cannot act, and to lay that foundation and to make sure that all of those issues come out so that all the people involved understand what the issue is. It's being raised in front of the BZA because sometimes there are issues. It's a variance, and I would like to get a variance, and you don't need a lot of background on that. But there are things. The Airbnbs was one. The BZA or the sober house was another one. And then it's a question of following through if they do file an appeal. So we've had a lot of public records requests this year, and I appreciate the help of everybody on council and in the administration and everybody working for the city and responding to those and helping us with those. We've worked through meeting notices in a different process for advertising ordinances after they're passed. Right now, we're working on some zoning issues. The administration and the law department are working through, Noah is farther along than I am on reading through the model zoning code the county has to kind of see where we can update ours. And the the planning commission is considering ordinances that I drafted on Airbnbs, on group houses, and on the PUD process is kind of things that should be straightened out soon. I do want to thank Tim Gary and Kat Cornelius because they just make my life so much easier. There's so many things that we can manage in the law department that I think before we were there, things that just didn't get done. And so even having all of the extra support staff the administration has, I mean, we have, as opposed to 3 people in the administration, we've got a project coordinator, we've got a full-time building commissioner, we've got a human resources director, there are all these people, we've got the payroll is outsourced. So there's a lot of things that are off of our plate that used to be day-to-day things. And so we have more bandwidth to do things, and the people in the city have taken advantage of the fact that, hey, the law department can help out with this. And so we are trying to keep up. Of course, if anybody has questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. And hopefully the next year will be better than it has been, even better than it has been. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Moore? Mrs. Hoover?
Through the president, can we have an update on the CRA?
Mr. Moore?
On a draft of a change, I'm trying to find or work out language that covers everything that has been talked with the school board. Beyond that, if there's a draft of language that council wants aside from that, then there's one that was, I put one together for you, a couple actually, alternatives for the committee to consider. And we are just, we have a lot and they are not quick at responding as far as, okay, here's my thoughts on this. What do you think back? To get not only an agreement to kind of settle the lawsuit, but the actual, here's a tax incentive blanket agreement to cover TIFs and CRAs going forward.
Mrs. Hoover?
Can you explain how that is going to impact developments that are currently in the pipeline?
Mr. Moore?
It kind of depends on how far along they are. Here's the thing. So for residential CRAs and council, I don't know, it seems like last week, like it was the CRA program was changed so that it used to be that residential building under 4 units or under was considered residential. Residential and single family homes and 2-family homes. If you build a new one or you have rehab, significant amount of rehab, once you're done and have all the receipts and the building department has certified everything, then you submit an application for the tax abatement that goes with that. It's 100% automatic tax abatement, 15 years for the residential side. For commercial projects, you need an agreement first. And that is, if it's a commercial project, if you're running a factory or you have a business there, that's a commercial project. We used to define commercial as residential buildings with 5 or more units in it. So apartment buildings were considered as commercial. You need to have an agreement in place before you start work on the project. And so we have some gray areas. So if council, and this seems to be the way it might be headed, is that if we want to go back to, we changed it so that any apartment building is also considered residential. So there are buildings that are being built now that qualify as residential under our code. But if we change the code, it will be so that those are commercial for the CRA. In theory, you're supposed to have an agreement in place before you start construction, and so they would be out of luck. And so any legislation, any agreement with the schools would grandfather the ones that have received an assurance from the city that yes, you qualify. And so that's the way the legislation would be written. There are some that are kind of in limbo because we can't send that letter because clearly we have real serious intentions that the provisions of that process will change. And so we can't send a letter to somebody saying, yes, your project will qualify under the terms of our code. Oh, by the way, it's going to be, we're going to change it, so you probably won't. That's not going to help them with the financing, which is why they get those letters. And so we have some that are kind of we don't know exactly how that's going to play out. So anything going forward, I would want to do, I'm recommending the ones that have not started construction is like we should get an agreement in place that says we're going to, if it's residential, if it turns out this qualifies as residential, qualify, but in case it doesn't, we're going to count it as commercial. And so whatever that is, and then all the agreements for the commercial projects have to be approved by council. So that's kind of where we are. We're in limbo, and it seems to be dragging.
Thank you.
Does that help at all?
Mrs. Hoover?
Thank you. Yes and no. I guess my question is there anything that council can do to facilitate it moving through, or is right now it's back and forth with the school?
Mr. Moore?
I sent the last document I got from the school district. I sent that out, and I sent it to the new council members last week, and the rest of council I sent in the previous year. And I've not heard from anybody. We can go into executive session if you want to talk through any of that, but I haven't heard from anybody that there are any issues with it. I have some issues with the language that kind of I started with, and sent some questions to the school district their attorneys last week, and they're thinking about it now. So that's kind of where we are.
Thank you.
Mr. Moore.
Thank you for the law director. So just to go back to the adult use cannabis. So I think what you're saying is basically that if there's an existing fund, say the streets fund, that we could sort of add a line item within the streets fund, and that would be easier and probably the better approach than creating a net new fund that is, whatever number. Do I have that right?
Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's two kinds there's funds where there's some that call it a fund. We have we have a line in the law department for outside legal fees. And that's not necessarily a fund, but it is a separate line item within the way we do it. We also have separate keys for the law department. I mean, you can set one up like that is just, here's a kind of a separate key. Or you can there are funds where the use is restricted. Usually that's because it's part of a grant or there's a TIF. There are some that are TIF funds that money goes into those from particular places, and they can only go out under certain conditions. And there are ways to set up funds like that, but the state auditor doesn't like us to do our own. So I'm not sure what they would be willing to go along with. We have had in the past, we had a development fund that was based on money we got from a developer in order to agree to a larger TIF. And that, under the terms of when that fund was set up, had restrictions on how council could use or what had to happen for council to spend money out of that, or for money to be spent out of that. And you can, in theory, put those on, but at the same time, the next council, or this council 6 months from now, if you need it for something else, has the ability to change that, unless there's some outside legal requirement. The one thing about adding a separate key as opposed to just a line under another key budget would be that it's more of a psychological barrier. If it's just listed under, streets, then the fact that we're going to put it into some other streets, it's a different kind of thing just psychologically than if it's under the special capital improvements marijuana fund, whatever kind of thing you want to call it. Then it's like, that's a different kind of thing. Or we'd have to move money out of that fund in order to spend it on something. So, I mean, that's kind of the rough outline of the way it works. And I don't know all the details because it's the auditor figures that stuff out.
Mr. Moore.
Mr. Miracle? No, just kidding. Just if I may go back for a moment to Ms. Grubb's question, I'll just be candid in saying that, I think whether it was the Law and Ordinance Committee or the BZA meeting, things like that, I think that the sober living matter has been just frankly a little bit outside my radar in terms of like day-to-day involvement. Could you comment, or maybe it's a different council member, on just kind of where things stand with any required ordinance changes or maybe recommended ordinance changes as it pertains to sober living?
Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the way the zoning code works now, if you're in a residential zone, if you have a house, single-family house, assume most of these seem to be single-family house. You get a single-family house, you're allowed to have up to 4 people, unrelated people can live there. There are special provisions for, now it's group homes. It needs to be changed to residential facilities. For people that are getting special, I forget the terms, but the specific language. But there's specific language. People that are receiving on-site help with day-to-day activities because they are learning disabled or they have mental infirmities. Those are allowed as of right, but those are very specific kinds of programs, and this is not, sober houses are not those. So under our code, if you're in a residential district, you're not allowed to have more than 4 unrelated people there, regardless of whether it's a sober living house or a halfway house or whatever the heck it is. There are a few, there's bed and breakfast provisions, there is a rooming house provision under the code, but those are complicated, and there are significant hoops you have to jump through. None of these places have even told the city they were moving in before they did. So the way the current code is now, if you have four unrelated people, more than four unrelated people, they can't live in the same house. This is a new thing. I mean, these some of these houses the issue would have been there might have been 6 or 8 college students living there 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So I'm not sure what a change in the code would be. In theory, we could say a thing saying, okay, if you're going to run a sober living house, figure out a definition of that. If you're going to run this, you need to register with the city first. But they're not doing that. They're not even letting us know they're moving in with a different use at this point. When we had the BZA hearing, their position seemed to be, well, people are living there. It's residential, so you can't tell us anything. You can't put any restrictions on it, which is patently not true, which is why the BZA ruled against them. And so if there is a provision, if there's some kind of legislation that would make a difference, I would be happy to draft something, but I don't know what it would be. And that's kind of where we are on drafting legislation. It's an enforcement issue. It's a hard thing to enforce. If the neighbors that live there give us, for the one on 1753, the neighbors, the ones notified the building department, say, we got all these people living here, that's a reason to go and investigate, but you can't knock on every door in the city and check how many people are living here, let's count the beds. So it's kind of on the enforcement side of it and following that through, at least from my perspective.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Moore?
I'm tired of hearing myself, so yeah.
All right, thank you. Then hit your button. We have no reports of standing committees of council, third readings of ordinances or resolutions, or second readings of ordinances or resolutions. So we will move on to introductory readings of ordinances and resolutions. The first is an ordinance repealing section 1305.20 of the Norwood Codified Ordinances entitled Plumber's License and Registration, and making related amendments to other sections of the Norwood Codified Ordinances. Mrs. Hoover.
I make a motion, we have the first reading.
Motion by Mrs. Hoover to have the first reading of the ordinance. Mrs. Bowling.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bowling. Any discussion? Mrs. Hoover.
I would like to invite Mr. Wolf up to chat about this for us.
Mr. Wolf.
Okay. I'm here to answer any questions, or do you want me to talk about the ordinance itself?
That would be lovely, if you could just explain the background and why we're doing this.
Thank you, Mrs. Hoover. Currently, the city does not have a plumbing board. We have not had a true plumbing board for many years, before I even came aboard. And to have a plumbing board, you have to have an on-staff licensed plumber, which we do not have. Therefore, we cannot actually register any plumbers in the city of Norwood because of that, or even test any plumbers in the city of Norwood. Currently, the state licenses all the plumbers. We currently use Hamilton County to review the plans and do all the plumbing inspections. So in doing so, having this ordinance for plumbers is useless for us in a way. And what we charge, if we did have a board, doesn't make it monetarily a monetary income for the city. Actually, we probably lose money because it takes about 2 hours. We have mailings, letters to go out, and right now a letter is like 70 cents or something like that. So by the time we're done, we only charge $25. So it doesn't make any sense to have this this ordinance on there. So in doing so, I'm asking the board to remove it so it doesn't come up with the plumbers asking, how do I get registered?
Mrs. Hoover.
So for clarity, this is just a cleaning up of the ordinances?
In general, yes.
Okay. And so how it will work moving forward is just simply Hamilton County will be in charge of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Hamilton County will do the licensing of the plumbers, and move forward from there.
Thank you.
And most of them are registered with Hamilton County anyway. We're like a tertiary group licensing plumbers again. They're already licensed and we use Hamilton County to do all the work.
Mr. Moore?
Yes, thank you, through the chair. So I had a chance to speak with a tradesman about this and just kind of get their perspective. And I think overall the sentiment is that this is good, and in some ways, as it previously existed, it was redundant, and so this is a good cleanup, as...
It's a cleanup. Is it redundant? No, it's not redundant. We're just trying to eliminate this section in the code.
Right. Yeah. So overall, positive in moving towards a reflection in our codes of what is happening in practice.
And by cleaning up all the other areas in the code that deal with plumbers and how they deal with it. We'll have a definition of a plumber in the definition section, but we will not have that section.
Sure. So I guess a couple of questions that came up. I think that this would be section 5 of the ordinance as it's written. The quick part, it says plumbing contractor license required. No person shall make any connection with or opening into any sewer drain unless they have been licensed as a plumbing contractor by the state of Ohio, vetted by the county, et cetera. As I understand it, in a plumbing operation, let's say the head honcho is the person that actually has the license, but they might have any number of, let's say, technicians that work for that company sort of under that license. I guess my question, or I guess my point would be like, is the reading of this sort of too restrictive? Like, should it be like a license holder or or a designee of a company holding a license? You know what I mean? Because if an individual technician might not have it, is this basically saying that individual technician, if they are not personally licensed, should not do the work?
No, it's not saying that they cannot. They're working under a license. Either it's a company license or the licensed plumber.
Right, and I guess my question is do we feel like that is clear enough as it's currently written? Because I guess to me it reads as if you need to be the licensed person yourself, but doesn't necessarily allow for somebody working under somebody else's license.
I like to leave that to Mr. Moore because he helped generate this.
Okay. Mr. Moore?
So, I mean, we could adjust it.
Thank you, Mr. President. My understanding, what the language was before was you need a licensed master plumber, which is something that we would decide, you've been licensed by the city as a master plumber. So the idea is just to change the language to the current terminology that the state uses, which is plumbing contractor. And some of those are firms and some of those are individuals. But if you're licensed as a plumbing contractor, then that is who's filing the application to open the sewer tap. And I understand from the administration that actually MSD does all that stuff. They don't come to us, but because we have a provision in our code, if you want to tap into one, I guess would be our storm sewer that's not combined. But if it's anything sanitary, you got to go through the county anyway. So, and this is the terminology I understand from Carrie, that this is the terminology that's used by the state, is the plumbing contractor is the official title.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you are the experts here, I just want to ask the question as far as, if that individual is sort of covered under the umbrella of their company's license. And then I think the other question that came up was the matter of, so on one hand, if you're hiring out somebody to do work, presumably they have a license or whatnot. But as for kind of the after the fact of like an inspection on work that has been done, that would seem to be sort of a secondary kind of fail-safe or checkpoint. I guess the question would be, if I'm an individual homeowner and I'm handy, I want to do my own plumbing work and then have the city inspect it afterwards. Am I allowed to do that so long as I am occupant of either a single family or a multi-family home that I own or occupy, so I kind of have that skin in the game?
Correct. You are still allowed to do that as the owner occupant and Hamilton County would come out and inspect.
Okay. And that's valid for any, for either single family or duplex, all on up?
Well, it's single-family duplex, but anything after that, it becomes a commercial project. So
Okay.
then Hamilton County has to get involved, and you would probably need a commercial plumber to do all that work.
Okay.
And the reason we have it broken down for taps, because you're getting into the street, and once you get into the street, it becomes a whole nother animal out there of what you can do and how to do it. So we have a plumber or a contractor that's from the tap in and from the tap out. And only certain people can do that in the city of Norwood.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Wolf, just for the record, for those who are watching and for those new members of council, if you can state your name
Oh,
and your
sorry.
role within the city.
My name is Ralph Wolf. I'm the chief building official for the city of Norwood.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody.
All right. Any other discussion? Any other questions for Mr. Wolf? All right.
Thank you.
The motion on the floor by Mrs. Hoover, seconded by Mrs. Bowling, is to have the first reading of the ordinance. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
Mr. Probbins.
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Gerton.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Please have the first reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance repealing section 1305.20 of the Norwood Codified Ordinances entitled Plumbers License and Registration and making related amendments to other sections of the Norwood Codified Ordinances.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a resolution calling for Monday, January 19th, 2026, to be a day of service in honor of Martin Luther King, Jr. Mrs. Hoover.
I'd like to suspend the rules and have all 3 readings.
Motion by Mrs. Hoover to suspend the rules and have all 3 readings of the resolution. Mrs. Bowling.
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Mrs. Bowling. Any discussion? Mrs. Hoover.
I'm really excited about this. This is the 5th year that we've had the Norwood Celebrates MLK with Service. I was actually doing some service this evening at Woven Oak Zion Church. And one of the things that I know that Ms. Myers talked about this is that folks are needing to use our social service agencies, our food banks, our community meals more and more often. The pantry we were at tonight, there were over 30 families that were served. They served guests a lovely meal of baked potatoes, like big fat baked potatoes with stuffing on them. Really lovely. I was excited that another Norwood resident was able to come. And there will be service opportunities, almost 100 throughout Norwood, and I'm going to talk about it again, so maybe I should wait. But really, really excited. I want to share that I know that Mr. Miracle has signed up. I know that Mr. Bonsall is volunteering, and this is such a beautiful way that we can connect with our residents in new ways. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All right, motion on the floor by Mrs. Hoover, seconded by Mrs. Bowling, is to suspend the rules and have all 3 readings of the resolution. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
Mr. Probbins.
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Gerton.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Please have all 3 readings of the resolution.
A resolution calling for Monday, January 19th, 2026 to be a day of service in honor of Martin Luther King, Jr. A resolution calling for Monday, January 19th, 2026 to be a day of service in honor of Martin Luther King, Jr. A resolution calling for Monday, January 19th, 2026 to be a day of service in honor of Martin Luther King, Jr.
Thank you. Mrs. Hoover.
I make a motion, we pass the resolution.
Motion by Mrs. Hoover to pass the resolution. Mrs. Bowling.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bowling. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
Mr. Probbins.
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Gerton.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Moving on to unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business? All right. New business. Any? Mrs. Hoover?
I have a few fun things. Thank you so much. First off, I want to share that in December, the city of Norwood, 277 pounds of electronic waste. That's all stuff that we kept out of our landfills. This is a fantastic start. If you remember, the Board of Health has a contract with Reboot, and they have a little metal container behind their building where you can take computers, servers, laptops, printers, phones, old radios, dehumidifiers, air purifiers, speakers, cameras, power tools, treadmills, ? I'm not sure how to fit that in there, but it's on the list. Window air conditioner units, small household appliances, fans, and cords and cables. All of that can be taken to this location. It gets it out of the landfill. If they are computers, the company will clean it for you, will wipe it. I encourage you to do that on your own, but if you're like me and you don't know how, they will do that for you. So please check that out and take advantage of that really great resource. I can just keep on going. This is super exciting. As you know, I've been working with the Board of Health for all things sustainable. We got a $9,000 grant from Hamilton County Resource to do a composting plan for the city of Norwood. This will be in Lower Millcrest Park. It will be free composting for Norwoodians for a year. We'll be getting them little countertop buckets, lots of exciting stuff. You'll be hearing about it more later. We just got the grant. We have to get the POs from the auditor's office. Like everything, lots of hands are involved in this. Next is the tree grant. If you remember last year, the city of Norwood was awarded a $100,000 grant for trees and tree infrastructure. And this just makes me giddy every time. I can share I was out with Ms. Sullivan knocking on doors and met a resident who was really interested in trees and all things trees and wanted to volunteer. So I pulled out my phone to get her contact information, and that's when we got the notice that we got the grant. So there was screaming and laughing under a 100-year-old oak tree on, was that Glenside? Mm-hmm. I think it was on Glenside. So now Glenside is a very special place in my heart. So what will we do with this $100,000? The tree board will be working with the administration. They're going to be doing a public tree inventory, a removal of our damaged trees. We're going to be planting about 100 trees and engaging residents with their urban forest. And the goal is to achieve 40% canopy coverage in all neighborhoods in Norwood. So those are the lofty goals. Really excited. We're working with the forester. So we have actual experts who will tell us what are good ideas and what are bad ideas, and she is not shy about that. And I put this picture of, this is her favorite tree. This is a cucumber magnolia, which I think has got a gorgeous shape. It is native to the state of Ohio, and look at that, it's such a pretty tree. So there'll be lots more information about that as it rolls out. And then the MLK Day of Service, I talked about it a little bit. There is a QR code. There are flyers all over. It's on the city Facebook page. I believe it's on the city website, but I need to double check. There's a banner on Montgomery Road to let people know about it. This year, the Norwood schools have joined on, so there will be cleanup opportunities at each school. And I want to thank the council members for, I think every council member is going to be hosting one of these schools. So thank you very much. I'm really excited about that. So check out the QR code, sign up. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And then my very last is, I just threw this on there. Norwood does have gun locks for free at our police department. If you own a firearm and you live in the city of Norwood, you should have a gun lock. You should secure your weapons, please. So pop into the police department and they will be happy to hand one out to you. And that is all I have. Thank you, sir.
All right. Don't forget to flash your eye.
Oop. It's Danielle. It's Miss Sullivan's.
All right. Any other new business? Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. President. One thing I wanted to ask about, because I independently had the thought myself, and then there was an email sent to several city folks about the Norwood lateral and cleanliness there. I recall in the past there have been sort of lateral cleanup days. I can't recall if that's kind of a spring thing, but I guess maybe this is for Mr. Mayor, just if he can comment at all on ongoing maintenance of the Norwood lateral as it pertains to litter.
Mayor Schneider.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. The lateral is a mess, yes. And in the past, we have coordinated our efforts with the city of Cincinnati because, of course, the city of Norwood has about a half or a third of the lateral. The other part is the city of Cincinnati. But it's been brought to our attention that it needs attention, which we know, we drive the lateral also. But it's a coordinated effort typically, and that will be something that's taken care of as soon as some other pressing matters are passed, and typically it's in the spring that we do a big cleanup there.
Okay. Thank you very much. The other item that I would just like to share about is I had the chance to go to the grand opening of a new business here in Norwood at 2514 Leslie. It's called TKO Performance Fitness Center. It's really cool. It's basically two people who independently had their own sort of boxing training gyms that combined forces to open a new space just kind of right behind the Creamy Whip there. And it's just a really neat facility. It feels, there's very nice equipment inside. I successfully got a facade grant from the county, which will be beautifying that building on the outside. And, for as nice as the equipment is, the inside also feels a little bit Spartan in that way. That's like, all right, I'm a tough guy, if I work out here. So in any case, just wanted to put in a good word, a really lovely grand opening event last weekend for TKO Performance Fitness Center on Leslie. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other new business? Mr. Providence.
Yeah. I'd like to place administrative processes as a topic for the committee of whole.
All right.
Mainly revolving around how council functions, how we schedule things, how we communicate, just to kind of get everybody on the same page. And the other is kind of open for everybody, but the issue that Ms. Grubbs brought up tonight, I'd like to place in the law and ordinance, unless someone else has other ideas. And then I'd also like to schedule a law and ordinance meeting.
All right.
Would next Wednesday work with everybody at 5:30? The 21st.
I can do that.
5:30?
5:30?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
I had to make sure I was on that. Maybe I couldn't.
Yes. All right. Yeses have it.
And just as a piece of information or a question perhaps, if I may.
Mrs. Hoover.
I've been in contact with Michael Davenport. He's the commander for the Hamilton County Heroin Task Force. And he has a very close relationship with the Norwood Police. And we've been in contact about the concern about these, the word has been popping up in Norwood, and I'm not sure how much they're popping up versus that there's a concern that they might. I'm wondering if getting more data from them might be helpful for that conversation.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do some research for us, and so we can have a good meeting.
Wonderful, thank you.
Mrs. Boland.
Thank you, Mr. Years. I have sample legislation from 3 other cities, one of them being Bellevue, Kentucky, which is the closest one. The others are quite far away, that have ordinances on the books about sober living. So I will send those to the law committee and to Mr. Moore in advance of that meeting.
Thank you. And Mr. Providence, if you can send the agenda item, the date and time to Mrs. Raines and she will go ahead and send all of that information out and get the public notice out.
Do you?
All right. Any other new business? Mrs. Hoover?
I have a question about having a housing meeting. I know that we now have 2 new council members and wanted to see about having a meeting with potentially Catherine Fitzgerald, Pat Woodside, Catherine Fitzgerald is the city's economic development contractor experts. She's our with Alloy. And then Pat Woodside is our, the city attorney, to have a conversation about what do we want development to look like? Is that something, how do we want to try to support it? Do we not want to support it? I didn't know if that should go under housing, if that should go into economic development, but I was hoping we could have a little bit more of a robust conversation about those things because they're going to be coming up pretty quickly.
Mr. Moore?
Might I suggest that that's a committee of the whole kind of matter? I think some of those like bigger planning, economic development kind of stuff is, I think the intention was there more so than housing.
Okay. Does that work for others, putting it in the committee of the whole?
And the topic on that one again was?
I guess housing development. I think it would be helpful for them to talk about the current resources available to us, how they work, that sort of thing.
All right.
Thank you.
And along those lines, I will go ahead and announce a committee of the whole meeting to kind of repeat the process from last year. We'll have that as a standing committee meeting, first Tuesday of the month, 6:30. That still works? All right. And for now, we have those 3 items on the agenda. So that first meeting will be Monday, February the 3rd. I'm sorry, Tuesday, February the 3rd. Clarify. Mr. Moore.
Thank you. And I don't know, I think that'll probably be the first best time to discuss really trying to fix as many of our committees as possible to dates.
Standing.
Yeah. So basically make as many of these committee meetings as possible standing. So for example, I know finance right now is tethered to a certain Tuesday, committee of the whole's the first Tuesday, that kind of thing. I think if we could endeavor to do that, frankly, for all of them, I know that probably won't happen until February, but I think that would be a good additional agenda item.
All right. That will also be added to the agenda. Any other new business? All right, then moving on to communications. The first is a letter from Mayor Schneider regarding December Mayor's Court fines.
Dear Mr. President and council members, enclosed, please find the report for Norwood Mayor's Court for the month of November 2025. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, Victor Schneider, Mayor, City of Norwood.
Thank you. Mrs. Bowling.
I'll move that we receive and file the communication.
Motion by Mrs. Bowling to receive and file the letter. Mr. Gurdon.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Gurdon. Any discussion? Mr. Moore.
Could we take a quick moment? I feel like we may have already received and filed that in December because this is the November attachment. On the minutes from the 23rd, we received and filed the November Mayor's Court's fines. Is that?
It does say,
It's supposed to be the
yes, it does. So this has been December.
I think that was a little late to get to the council meeting, so then December's will be coming to you next. If you received file previously.
Yes, we received and filed in November's already.
Yeah, so December's probably coming to you.
All right. So we can either continue to receive and file this one again, or if we want to remove the motion and the item from the agenda. Mrs. Bowling,
Is there harm in receiving and filing twice?
there's not.
Then let's go ahead.
For safety.
Any further discussion? All right, motion on the floor by Mrs. Bowling, seconded by Mr. Gerton, is to receive and file the letter. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Hoover,
Yes.
Mr. Provins,
No.
Mrs. Bowling,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Gerton,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
With a vote of 5 in favor, 1 against, that motion carries. The next item is a communication from the law director, Mr. Moore, regarding the law director's annual report for 2025. Mrs. Bowling,
I move that we receive and file as if read.
are you sure? No, I'm kidding.
Fairly sure.
Ms. Sullivan,
second that.
seconded by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Hoover,
Yes.
Mr. Provins,
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Gerton,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Next item is a letter from Mayor Schneider regarding reappointment to the tree board.
Members of City Council, I request council approval for the reappointment of Lily Dean to the Norwood Tree Board. Ms. Dean's reappointment will become effective with council's approval of this request. Ms. Lily Dean, appointment effective immediately and ending 12/31/2028. Ms. Dean has been an active member of the tree board since October of 2023, and with her extensive experience, she has been a great addition to our tree board. Sincerely, Victor Schneider, Mayor, City of Norwood.
Thank you. Mr. Gerton,
Make a motion to file the letter?
receive and file and approve the appointment.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Moore,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Moore. Any discussion? Mrs. Hoover.
Thank you. I just want to share that Ms. Dean was, wow, it's late. The word just came out of my mind. She was necessary for us to get the tree grant. She and I worked tirelessly for that. She has also now become an actual arborist, which is really cool. And she is absolutely a benefit to the city, and I love working with her. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Instrumental.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Gerton, seconded by Mr. Moore, is to receive and file the letter and approve the reappointment. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Hoover,
Yes.
Mr. Provins,
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Gerton,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Final communication is a letter from the Safety Service Director regarding a request for executive session.
Dear Council President Gears, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 121.22G3, I respectfully request that council convene an executive session during the January 13th, 2026 council meeting for the purpose of discussing a matter pertinent to one of the city's labor unions. Respectfully, Noah Powers, Safety Service Director.
Thank you. Mrs. Bowling.
I move that we receive and file the communication and enter executive session for reasons stated.
Thank you. Mr. Moore.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Moore. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Hoover,
Yes.
Mr. Provins,
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Gerton,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. At this point, council will enter executive session. So we ask that anyone who is not part of the city administration or an elected official, please exit council chambers, and we will let you know once executive session has concluded so that you may return. Thank you. Turned from executive session. The next item on the agenda is to excuse absent members. Mrs. Bowling.
I make a motion that we excuse Mrs. Franzen.
Motion by Mrs. Bowling to excuse Mrs. Franzen. Mr. Moore.
Second?
Seconded by Mr. Moore. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Burton.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Next item on the agenda is adjournment. Mrs. Bowling,
I move that we adjourn.
is there a second? Mr. Garten.
A second?
Seconded by Mr. Garten. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
Mr. Provins.
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Burton.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. This meeting is hereby adjourned.